Hey, family, go ahead on and tag and share. Go ahead on, let's tag, share. Let's get everybody in today for the Greg James Community Show. Listen, we got a power pack show today. We got a power pack show. So let's get everybody in on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Let's get everybody in. Let's get everybody in on today. Go ahead. Go ahead and tag and share. Let's get everybody in today. It's a power pack day today. Want to say good afternoon and once again, welcome to a wonderful Wednesday right here over Hallelujah 95.3 FM. Listen, go ahead on and call neighbors, call friends, call everybody, let them know that the Greg James Community Show is now on the air. Hey, listen, I tell you, you got to know that we're moving into, that's right, general election time. And as you know, we definitely keep you informed. We keep you inspired, and we definitely keep you loaded with information. So today is going to be a power pack day. I've got about 6 candidates that I'm going to be talking to briefly to give them the opportunity to share with the many of you that's listening in Jefferson, Wakulla, Quincy, Havana, Gretna, Tallahassee. Hey, we got you locked in today. Why? Because informed people are inspired people. And that's what I want to let you know today. Listen, joining me on the phone lines is none other than candidate for Leon County Commission Group 5. That's Paula DeBose Johnson. I want to say good afternoon, Miss Johnson.
Good afternoon, Pastor
Well, listen, I am excited about having you on because now you are headed for we less than 8 days away, and it's an amazing time for you. So I want you to talk to the many listeners that are tuned into the broadcast. When you think about the office of county commissioner, how did running for office, how did that come about?
Well, anyone who knows me knows that I am a planner. So I've been planning a run for local office for about 12 years now, and what that meant for me is preparing myself. I've always been active in the community. For more than 30 years, I've been part of a lot of different groups. Just trying to do good in Leon County. So this is my opportunity to try to expand the service that I've already been given to Leon County. So I took a lot of classes. I've been part of a lot of work groups, a lot of different organizations, just to make sure that I was aware of the needs of this community. And then once I heard that Kristen was leaving her seat, I knew it was my time.
Wow. Well, there's nothing like timing. And one of the greatest things about it is when you know it's your time, then you move in the timing that God has allowed. Well, listen, I want to ask you just a few questions, and then I want you to give the listeners that are in your district that are tuned in round about the surrounding areas why Paula DeBose. But before we do that, let's look at the state of our county. What do you feel like when it comes to you being elected? What is one of the greatest things that you feel is necessary for you to work with other commissioners on as we get ready to move this county forward?
Well, I think there are a lot of things in the community, but priority for me is economic development. And with the strong economic development package, we can handle a lot of different things. We can tackle the crime issue, the job issue, the affordable housing issue. Talk about what the small businesses in our community need. So a strong economic package would be the first thing that I really like to focus on.
Wait, great. And you know, that is so important for our county. That's so important for the communities in which you represent and which all of our commissioners represent. Something that I feel like is big, big, big when it comes to the county. We just heard about what has happened in the Commissioner Proctor's district with the new opportunity now for the new sewer system that is in place. Looking at economic and looking at the inequities that you see in the county, what are some of the things that you would want to see in place for small minority businesses when it comes to being able to be a part of county contracts, when it comes to being a part of and being at the table for those things that are help developing our county as a whole for small minority business contractors?
Well, let me tell you what they told me they want to see.
Okay, so wait. Okay.
Right? So we know that they're set aside when we're talking about these big contracts coming in to the county and the city. They're set aside for those businesses that hire on minority contractors. We want to see greater use of that. That is what they told me. They want to see more set aside for small minority businesses. We've got great folks in here who already do good work. They have great name recognition, but they're not able to access the same things that these big organizations do. So that's one of the things that they've asked for. When we're talking about what's happening within our communities, what they said is they would like the same amenities on the south side that they have on the north side. Look, we're all neighbors, but once you cross a certain street within this community, you can tell the difference. And again, this is supposed to be one Tallahassee, so it's important for all of us to get on board, speak up, talk about the things that we want to see happen, and put money towards those things. More than lip service, it's time to start doing a little bit more action. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm known as a collaborator. I'm also known for getting things done. So I'm excited about the opportunity to work with the other citizens on the day of getting things done on both the south side and the north side.
Wow. Well, let me say this because our conscious chick has joined us. And let me say, first of all, you said something that was so important. And I feel like it's really, really paramount that I say it. You say not let me tell you what I want. Let me tell you what they want. So I'm led to believe by you making that statement, you have been sitting down with minority contractors and those who are minority vendors, hearing the needs.
I've been sitting down with people talking at what you're listening for more than 3 years. So yes, absolutely. And I heard you say community chick. Are you talking about good Christie?
That's who that is. That's our conscious community chick. All right, Miss Christie, let you have at it with the few minutes that we have left, and then let's let Ms. DeBose tell people why on November 8th they should be voting, and even now for her.
Well, I'm entirely biased as I sit here eating my great grains in the afternoon because I haven't eaten all day. This conversation, I'm totally biased. Paula DeBose Johnson has the unique chemistry of living on the South Side while representing and having expansion connections to North and East and West. And so I think it's important to have people who can translate from all different perspectives, all different issues, because every issue in our geography is hard to say. Think our priority is South Side, our priority is the West Side, our priority is the East Side, our priority is the West Side. So we're not a homogenous community. And so, Paula, I just want to give you a moment to kind of speak to that and talk about what this community needs in terms of a translator representation, particularly on the county commission board. I appreciate that, Christy, and that's how praise coming from you. So thank you so much. I will say this: I've been a Southside resident for about nearly 30 years. We bought that house when my old years old, and we've not been able to afford it because of housing crisis, and other priorities. Because a lot of people depend on our ability to make paychecks, so we had to prioritize family over, getting a bigger home and one that was affordable for us. But what I've also seen in our community is something that Pastor James already mentioned. The county has invested in removing some of those septic tanks.
Mm-hmm.
We're revamping all of that. And it's beyond time. Sometimes things move a little bit slower than what we like, but at least we're getting that done. People didn't want me to talk about the need for expansive broadband in our area. When we had COVID first hit and our children were struggling, when we got them computers and then we didn't have enough internet service or reliable internet service, that also impacted small businesses that weren't able to run credit cards, that weren't able to do business as they normally should. We're talking about roads. We're talking about housing. There is a lot that we can do right now, and I've said, and I know people might be tired of hearing it, but we are at a point in our history where we have so much access to federal money.
Wow.
We have an army of grant writers drawing down all of that federal money to match state dollars, and some of those don't require a match. We should be using that right now to improve everything that we want to have done in our community. Wow. And the time is now. So you need people that understand that process, know where the money is, know how to get people in the room together, get rid of all these silos and all the drama and negativity, and get back to the business of improving this community, because people are hurting and they're waiting on us.
Wow.
They're waiting for us to leave.
Wow. Well, I tell you, listen, I am elated that you would pause to share with us on this day. And Christine, I tell you, to hear you, Paula, it definitely gives a sense of hope. It gives a sense of freshness to our communities, to be able to know not only are you living among the people, but you are able to make your voice heard as though you were just a resident, a citizen in the same community. What a great way to end your time with us. With the last 30 seconds that we have, you didn't hear none of the bells go off because we're on a faith radio station. So I allowed a little grace to be there. So with the last 30 seconds that you have, tell us, the listeners, why they should vote Paula DeBose Johnson.
Okay, thank you again for the opportunity. But I am again Paula DeBose Johnson, candidate for Leon County Commission District 5. And I would like your vote because I have proven that you can trust me. I've been working in this community for more than 30 years, just trying to make things better for Leon County residents. And I want the opportunity to continue that work. So I would love your vote on or before November 8th. Please learn more about us and my ideas, my dreams and hopes for this county at IamWithPaula.com. And again, thank you all so much for the opportunity.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's Paula DeBose Johnson, Leon County Commissioner candidate for Group 5. You can learn more about her. Go to her website, hear more about her. Hey, listen, that's what we're going to do. It's a jam-packed hour here on the Greg James Community Show. I got the conscious chick on the line as well. And we're going to be talking next to County Commissioner Nick Maddox. So don't you go nowhere. We're going to really, really give you an opportunity to hear something. I'll be right back after this break.
I'm really excited about expanding my Bible-based teaching radio broadcast in Tallahassee and other select cities around the nation.
Hey, family, go ahead on and tag and share. Let's get everybody tuned in to the broadcast today. We're talking to so many candidates today. And believe it or not, I'll probably be on the radio for about another 2 days throughout the week, but I'm going to let you know what days they are. You know why? Because we've got so much to talk about. It's so many candidates that we got to hear from. And I want you to be an informed voter. I don't want you to move on your emotions. I want you to be informed so that you can make an intellectual decision. Mayor, what's going on?
Small businesses, invest in our kids, and deliver quality infrastructure to everyone in District 2. This is Tallahassee City Commissioner Diane Williams-Cox, and my friend Christian Caban will deliver results for District 2. Vote Christian Caban for Leon County Commission on or before November 8th. Thank you, Commissioner. This is Christian Caban, and I'm running to be the next Leon County Commissioner for District 2. I humbly ask for your vote and your involvement as we work together for a better and safer community for our families. Please vote for me, Christian Caban, on November 8th. I make only one promise. I will not let you down. A political advertisement paid for and approved by Christian Caban campaign for County Commission District 2.
Hey, we're back. It's your vote. It's your voice. I got the conscious chick on the line. Christy, are you still there? Well, listen, why don't you introduce our next guest that's coming up to talk to the thousands upon thousands of listeners that are tuned in to the Greg James Community Show.
Well, again, I feel real biased as I'm eating a late breakfast for lunch.
So that's why. Wait, let me ask you something. So you eating a late breakfast, so that's why you couldn't make it to work on time and in person. But I'm gonna pass with that. Let's introduce our next candidate. No, listen. But this is the thing about it. She's gonna send me an invoice and not even be at work in person, and I gotta pay it. Okay.
Let me tell you something. I am more than glad to be not in person on the wire to this young man. I'm gonna tell you, first time I met him, I wasn't all that stuff. And that was years and years ago. And Nick Maddox has been groomed and grown on the Leon County Commission. And I could not be more proud to not be just a fan, but just a partner and advocacy and support for his candidacy. Great people running, for the seats, and we give a shout out to everyone that is running for office in the season. But moving into these next years of development and increased population, we need folk at the table that ain't got to go to those meetings. Some folks that have some historic background, that have some work already being done, and I'm really proud of Commissioner Nick Maddox and what he's done and what he continues and committing to do in partnership with the community. So, Commissioner, welcome to the Greg James Community Show.
Well, thank you, Christine. I didn't think you ever
Amen. Everybody's wonderful. And listen, we are so delighted to have you. We're so delighted to have you. We're so delighted to have you in sharing with us on today. Listen, everybody's tuned in from across the district, from across Leon County. Go tell us one of the most, you've been serving now for well over 8 years. Tell us tell us one of the most landmark things that you feel like was so vital to your role up until this point.
When I look at what we were able to do on Orange Avenue with the redevelopment of Orange Avenue apartments, but change the look of that area and of the South Side as a whole. And I'm looking forward to seeing December 2024 get here so we can see the finished product. But the thing I enjoy most about it is that it's built out in a way where gentrification won't happen. So that right there just excites me so much. I'm glad we're Gregory Williams and housing authority and commissioners and Purposeville, people like Christine, and everybody else that came together this weekend. Senator Ardley, it's been a paramount thing for me. One of the things I ran for was to rebuild the project. So I got Orange Avenue down, bring here when we come. They deserve where Orange Avenue is. So that's what I'm so proud of.
Wow. And Christine, I want to say that when we look at the redevelopment of it, for a lot of people, change is something that is hard for them to really fathom. It's hard for them to really embrace. But once change starts happening, there's a sense of excitement that comes into the atmosphere. Would you say that's what we're seeing now, since you're one of the South Side chicks? How would you say that?
I mean, when we talk about, the South Side as a whole, not, neighborhoods like the Greater Barn neighborhood, the South City neighborhood, Providence neighborhood, long-standing neighborhoods like Callan and Gigi and St. Gaither, all of those, Appalachian Ridge, all of those neighborhoods, and there are so many others. I'm just naming a few that pop right off my head, right, that are legacy communities that are populated by people of color. I think it's really important for us to understand the impact of perceived value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to walk by something and I'm going to base its value on its proximity, on its identity, on what it looks like exterior-wise. And if stuff ain't growing, and if I hear one more person tell me, ain't nothing happening on the South Side, ain't that change, and then when change comes, of course, we do need to be extremely intentional about how that change comes and how it benefits the residents that are here, which I will keep saying over and over again. And I think that's where Nick's residency and his care has been so important, because we're not building these communities for folks to come. Yes, they're going to come. We have to accommodate, but we're building these communities for people who are here.
Right. And you know what? And that is key. And you said it, for not people to come, but for people who are already here. And with that, Nick, being a major project that you have been able to see come into fruition, as we look ahead, November 8th, people are voting now. I want you to be able to say, and Christine, I know you understand this, people can always hear what you say, but they must also see what you are doing. What is it that you are doing that should ensure the citizens who are going out to vote why Nick matters?
Well, I tell you, the first thing is I'm effective in whatever I put on my anybody that's dealt with me. They'll tell you I may not talk a lot about the things that I get done, but I get things done. That's the first part. The second part of it is I'm listening. In all the places that people would like me to see, I like to see me in, and I'm having the conversations about what we need as a community to move ourselves forward. Some of these things that people talk about may not be the most popular things for us to do, but if it's the right thing for our community, what you can guarantee is that Big Man is going to advocate on behalf of our people to make sure those things get done. And we're looking at crime, we're looking at affordable housing, we're looking at inflation, we're looking at infrastructure in our neighborhoods, all these kind of things. I'm going to be pushing for to make sure that the things that poor neighborhoods that need the most are going to be taken care of. And not just from a county perspective. I'm going to expand my reach to even maybe have conversations with the city, even though I don't control right over there about advocacy points of what people in town might like to see from the city. I don't think it's out of bounds for the county commissioner to go across the street and talk to my fellow citizens in the city about some of the things that I'm hearing from the community that they need to take leadership on. So I'm all in. I'm all in to make sure that our community is taken care of, that the voices of the people are heard, and that they're represented on the diet to the best of my ability as a county commissioner.
Wow. Well, let me say this, Nick, and we know with the last 30 seconds I got left, I'm going to take 15 to say that in my journey of campaigning for District 8, I ran across a situation and I gave you a call concerning that with a business, and without hesitation, you were able to. And I'm not saying you did this because it was an election year. I'm saying this, you did this because you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You went out to make sure that what I saw got resolved. And I haven't said anything to you since then, but let me openly say this to you now. I appreciate not only you hearing the call that I made, but I appreciate you heeding to the call and going about to find some solutions for that situation and that family in which I met as I was journeying towards District 8. So I want to say thank you. And for those of you who are listening to the broadcast, we need people that not only are going to hear you, but they're going to take heed and bring about solutions. So shots out to you, Nick. I don't know whether that was a touchdown you scored when you ran out there to see those people, but I really appreciate it. Nick Maddox, County Commission, District 2. Amen. All right. Well, Christique, I tell you, we're getting ready. I mean, this is what is important. And this is why listeners must make sure that they research their candidates and get reliable information. How important is that?
Oh, man. If I can't, we sit up at night, we're talking. I think people hear us on this radio show, but they don't know the night that we're talking to you, stuff that's happening on the ground level, out of this situation, that needs public policy to law. And at the end of the day, people are not just citizens on these things, but in office that is law. And that is critical right now. Responsibility as well as just literacy, it's great, again, for folks who want to represent, want to run for office, and we have some very intelligent people in the community. But in the next couple of years, next couple of decades, where the projected growth of the community is going to skyrocket beyond what people have ever experienced here in Tallahassee and Young County, we've got to have a game at the table.
Amen.
We don't vote. We need to have people in place that are responsive and that understand what's at stake and that can make moves based upon connection, relationship, and capability.
Wow. You said something, and I've got in the studio with me live Kurt Bender, candidate for House seat District 8. You said we just can't have a game at the table. We got to have the A game. And there are the A game players that have to be at the table. So I want to say thank you once again for, chiming in. And even though you're having a late breakfast and you're not in the studio, and I know you're going to send me an invoice, but I tell you, you're going to work extra overtime because I'm going to do another show this week and you're going to have to come in. Okay. Got it. Okay, well, listen, joining us now, he's a candidate for House seat District 8, Mr. Kurt Bender. What I tell you about this young man is so amazing because once I finished the chapter that I was in for House seat District 8, he immediately called me and wanted to sit down and talk. And I must have evaded him for about maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I think I did. But finally, I said, well, you know where my office is? It's at the Waffle House. If you could catch me there, then we can make it happen. And he would say, hey, man, I just rolled by. You wasn't there. I said, well, keep riding. You're going to catch me. And sure enough, he caught me at the Waffle House and we started talking. I want to thank you so much for that. First of all, the call to just say, let's have a conversation. Secondly, for the fact that we sat down and we talked. Welcome to the station. Welcome to the show. Kurt Bender, how are you?
Doing well, Pastor James. Thank you very much for your time. If I wasn't running, you would have my first vote.
Wow, man, listen.
and if I wasn't running, I might have still wrote you in.
Well, I tell you, man, I really appreciate that. And Kurt, let's talk about House seat District 8. I mean, I ran for that seat, and it's a area of District 8. You know the district. You know what the needs are. What is it that Kurt Bender feels, believes he brings to the table that will represent that district to the utmost?
I think it's pretty simple: skills and experience. Proven skills and proven experience in the issues that face us most. The primary issue is economic development. That's what we hear a bunch of times, but what tools do we have to fix that? I think that we have to have a sober approach to what the state representatives can accomplish. And I'll say it, there's one state representative, but there's a lot more constituents in the district. The solutions are likely already there. So I'll give you an example, something that I followed very closely back when you were championing it. It's the opportunity zones. We have food deserts. We need economic development there. It's let's leverage these opportunity zones to bring funding in to build infrastructure that we can have our local entrepreneurs charge forward with. You know, if it's a food desert, leverage an opportunity zone to build the infrastructure for the grocery store, and let's get that filled. I think that's a great thing. Another issue, and I heard this from the person in the streets the most, is that absurd utility prices in Gaston County. That's a specialty of mine. In fact, that's the reason I'm running for office. I found a way for the city of Tallahassee to vest renewable energy credits and sell those and make millions of dollars that we can use to invest in other infrastructure. And it seemed a little difficult to get in there. I had some support from some folks in city government. And I said, hey, you know, if I run for office, I can have a better platform to push this. So it's something that I like to state. I'm not running for office because of things that I think I can do. I'm running for office because of things that I've been doing as a citizen. And when the opportunity presented itself, I said, this is an opportunity for me to scale the good that I've been doing in my community.
Wow. And I think, Christy, I'm going to toss it over to you if there's a question that you would like to ask of Mr. Kurt Bender, candidate for House Seat District 8.
Again, you got all my biases on today. You know, Kurt is my leadership Tallahassee freshmate. And he is definitely one of the smartest guys that I have met. And that is tremendous. I think the thing that really impresses me about you, Kurt, is that you understand that the conversation is not just one-dimensional. It's not based upon a party or politics. So it really is based upon the needs of people and approaches that are citizen-driven and citizen-informed. Can you talk a little bit about, that? Talk about the need for people to focus on what matters, right? Instead of kind of the noise and some of the things that you have espoused that are kind of outside the box of party description.
So I'll state first, I don't want to get too philosophical, but I'm an entrepreneur. I've chaired Startup Week a couple times. I've invested a lot in economic development. However, the new mantra for entrepreneurs now is that we're creators. I sort of disagree with that. We're made in the image of our creator, but it takes a man and a woman together to create anything. King Solomon said that there's nothing new under the sun. I think what we really are, we're assemblers, right? I think that the pieces are already here. Is we need to pray for the discernment to identify the necessary pieces and assemble to build the projects that we need to do. Some folks call that community organizing. Some people call it advocacy. I think that if we're relying on one individual to go to the Capitol and to make mass scale change, that won't work. On my website, I have something called the 50-50 promise. It's a promise between the representative and the constituents to work together. We have to activate our constituents to work for themselves and get the support of our representative who's leveraging the state support so that we can do good for ourselves, by ourselves, and with ourselves. I think that's a very important concept to hone in on.
Wow. Wow. Let me say this because I want to ask you this and I want you to, look at it. When we look at the district, we're at the bottom when it comes to poverty. When it comes to, you name it, we're there. I was on the ground for well over 70 plus days, hearing people. What is it that you know that is so important to the everyday person who's just trying to make it in a district that is crime-ridden, in a district that is at the bottom of poverty. When we look at what's happening in our communities, what is it, the one thing that you see that needs to happen to give a life back to that district?
I think understanding. I think folks want us to understand what's happening. And I'll say that a different way. I hear about all the money brought back and things of that, but that's not affecting the folks that directly have the pain. Saying that 100 million given to this or given to that, that's not resonating with the person that's struggling to make the ends meet. That's not resonating with the parent that has a full-time job, but then has to go find part-time work after that so that they can feed their family. And they're disappointed because they want to care for their children. They want to be there to help with the homework. They want to do that, but they just can't. And talking about just dollars brought back is not really understanding what folks are feeling and understanding the issues that they're facing. I think the first thing is understanding what's happening and listening to what's happening with the folks in the county, door to door knocking. Folks are telling me, well, this sounds great and that sounds great, but what will happen for me today? What will happen for me tomorrow? And I think that's the biggest problem.
Wow. Well, I tell you, Mr. Bender, it's a journey, but you are at it nonstop. I want to commend you. I want to certainly thank you so much for even reaching out. And with the last 30 seconds that you have, what would you say to the 20,000+ that are in District 8 that are tuned in?
I am Kurt Bender, candidate for State Representative District 8. I affiliate with the party that's in control of the legislature, that's in control of the governor's office, and I'm best positioned to charge forward our initiatives, to charge forward our issues to the Republican-led legislature. It's the seat with power, and I'm best positioned to help you in those initiatives. If you visit my campaign website, bendercampaign.com, that's bendercampaign.com, study my background. Don't vote for me because you like how I sound. Don't vote for me because of the money I raise. Vote for me because I'm the best qualified to tackle the issues that affect you the most. You'll notice something, Pastor James. If you go to my website, I don't have a single platform on there. What I have instead is I have identified goals and I have the strategies and how I hope to accomplish those goals. And I think that's important because folks need to know, what qualifications do I have to solve the issues that hurt them every single day. Vote Kurt Bender for State Representative District 8.
Wow, Kurt, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And man, keep up the good fight. Hey, good luck. Hey, keep it locked right here. Don't go nowhere. We're pausing for a station break, and coming up, joining me next, candidate for Senate seat District 3, none other than Corey Simon. Hey. What's up? Hey, gotta turn your app down. Hey, go ahead on and tag share. Let's get everybody in. We're winding down. Joining me now is candidate for Senate seat District 3. Want to say good afternoon, and hey, listen, it's your vote, it's your voice. We have been able to talk to several candidates, and joining me now, Christy, is candidate for Senate seat. Let me get that right. Senate seat District 3. Mr. Corey Simon, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Greg. Thanks for having me.
No, man, I'm delighted to have you. And before we get started, man, I know you're in a hot race. It's exciting.
It is.
It's exciting. And they have labeled you as this extremist guy. I mean,
I think it polls well. I think, they poll test the word extreme, and they just kind of throw it out there and see what sticks. But I think folks that I've had a chance to talk with over the last couple months understand my position and where I'm coming from, and none of it is extreme. I think it's a fear tactic, and I think when you don't have a message of prosperity and entrepreneurship and opportunity, you have to scare people.
Wow.
And
Wow.
And that's unfortunate on where this has gone. It's gone into strictly fear mode because my opponent has been there for 12 years and not a lot to be. There's not a lot there to really write home about. So you got to scare folks into thinking that your way is right when they're living every single day and they're like, my circumstances haven't changed. Matter of fact, it's getting worse. And so when somebody comes to the table with a different look, coming from a different position, I guess that's what they're looking for.
Wow. Well, let me ask this, because I think this is so important, and I'm certainly delighted that you're here today. And I'm gonna figure out a way to get me some more time this week to have some more shows, and I would love to bring you back so we can dive deeper into it. But one of the things that I like to hear from you, Corey, is when you look at the district, you know, you haven't voted on one bill. You haven't tried to put no policy in play. You haven't been a part of no laws being instituted, but yet you have been labeled as though you've been voting. And when you look at the senator who's running now, and you look at her record, what does that say to you?
You know, it goes back to that fear mongering. You know, it shows a desperation to try and hold on to some semblance of power. And my perspective on power has always been power needs to be given back to the people, not harnessed at the top. And when you have these folks that feel entitled to positions, they have to try and garner that support however they can. I'm not out here to scare anybody. What I'm out here is to provide solutions to real issues that are plaguing District 3. The poverty, the crime, you know, access to information and opportunity. Those are the things that I'm speaking on. And so there's been nothing that I've said over the course of this campaign to try and scare anybody. What I'm trying to do is encourage a district that badly needs resources. And that's what I bring to the table.
Wow. Christy, let me throw it to you.
I think that, you know, this is going to be, this is already such a different atmosphere in Leon County than it's ever been. To have a campaign like you have, for a party that has been forced to influence, you know, in this way, in this county. I mean, where are you with that? Where are you with the folks that you're going to represent that don't believe or don't side with the party ideology that you embrace?
Well, Christique, I tell you, I've always been one to try and build consensus. That's how you function on a team. You know, coming from my background in professional sports, being in the locker room, understanding that there are going to be people that have different ways of doing things. It's about pulling things together, pulling people together, and that's how you get things done. No one man is an island. And I'm not professing to go in there and totally take over and run roughshod because you can never, you know, you take how you eat an apple is one bite at a time. And so I'm going to take those bites to make sure that we're moving this district forward and build the consensus necessary to get things done. This isn't about standing on a Senate floor and poking the bear and sticking my finger in the eye of people that I don't agree with or disagree with me. It's about finding a way to service the people. I think for too long, too often, we have folks that are trying to make their name known, trying to be popular in the eyes of either their voters or just looking for that next step forward. The next step for me is just serving people. And that's how I've always looked at things. It's not looking at things through an ideology. It's looking at things that how do you get what needs to be done. And that's what I think scares some folks that are trying to push me into one camp or the other. When I sat down and when we had our debate, my opponent just railed on why you have to go down party line. You have to be this. You have to vote with the party. And what that told me is that's exactly what she's been doing. And oftentimes, in spite of what the needs are of the people here in this district, the entire district. And so that's how I look at this. This is an opportunity to get in there, build relationships. Am I going to get everything that I want? Probably not. But it's better off going into a place and understanding that you're going to have to make some deals to get some things done for the better interest of the folks of this district.
Wow. When you look at, and you know, we're running out, but we're going to definitely have to get back because absolutely. I wanted to invite as many as I could on the day today. But when you look at the district as a whole, 13 counties, I believe it is. I shared with you my concerns. I ran for District 8. You and I had an opportunity to walk side each other. We've had an opportunity to conversate, even in the midst of me running. And after feeling like, you know, I was done for a moment, we connected back. And I began to share with you some of the things that I saw as a need for District 8, which is a part of Senate Seat 3.
Absolutely.
When you look at the needs, what is the main thing that you know you would fight for? Just look at infrastructure in Gadsden, yeah. And look at how, God.
Yeah, no, listen, Greg, I'm with you. Listen, you know, it's hard to build a village on sinking sand. And what we need to do is sow up our infrastructure throughout this district. You know, I think when you look at where Gadsden is and a lot of it being still on septic, and it's hard to get industry to come in that brings jobs. You know, it's hard to get those things done if the infrastructure isn't right. And so that will be a tremendous focus. This isn't, you know, when I'm out there talking with folks and sitting down with them, it's not policy driven. It's dollars and cents. It's an economic impact. And how can we make an economic impact throughout District 3? And so those are the things that I'm really, you know, hyper focused on and making sure that we have a District 3 for the future and not just one that's living in the past.
Wow. Christy, let me throw to you, and we got about 2 minutes, and then we got the mayor coming up, and we're going to have to really come back. Y'all stay tuned for flyers, commercials, because we're coming back before the week is out. We got to dive in there. Man, there's so much that I want to say because they're portraying you as a guy who, man, you're going to shoot up churches, schools, and everything.
Again, when you don't have a vision for the future and prosperity and how to move things forward, you lean on what you know, and that's fear. And I just refuse to succumb to that. I think we have a vision that will propel people forward, give them an opportunity to succeed, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing when I went on November 8th.
Wow, Christy.
I think that's really important as we close out. You know, there's some conversation, and I know I've been watching both your campaign and Senator Auburn's campaign. I'm all about trying to make sure that the proper narrative is out there, right? And I've seen you. Of course, there's a lot of conversation out there about not showing up at quote unquote health forums. And I've seen you in about 4 forums. This is one of the people talking. What's some of the things that you're hearing from those folks, from regular people within this district about how we can move them forward?
Absolutely, you know, and it's been different forms depending on what the, you know, sitting down with the builders and other folks in the community, but primarily it's, Corey, how are you going to move us forward, right? It's how are you going to bring opportunities, and a lot of that of what I've been really focusing on is our career and technical education component and trying to get our young people engaged in careers, right? Not everybody's going to go to college, nor should they have to. But those that elect to go to college, making sure that they're going to college for things that lead to employment. And then those folks that are looking for other alternatives and going to our trade schools, making sure that they have the resources necessary to go and succeed. Those are what it's been about, right? It's how are you going to help our communities? And that's what I focus on, access and opportunity. And that's what I'll continue to focus on over the course of the next 2 years when I'm serving in the Senate, creating more access and more opportunities for folks that are looking for them.
Wow. And I want to wrap up with this. I mean, crime is it's plaguing our communities.
Mm-hmm.
And what is some of your...
So crime comes from a place of hopelessness. If you have a young man, 14 to 24 years old, and they feel hopeless, they don't think that they're going to see their 30th birthday or their 20th birthday. It's hard to convince that young man or woman that success is right around the corner. If we don't start at an earlier age, and I'm talking about, our K through 5 programs, but our middle school especially, if we don't start to get different opportunities, not just our regular course curriculum that they learn, because not every student is a great student. I look at what my son, he struggled in school. It's only now that he's found a place where he feels like he fits in the welding program over at Lively Technical College. What if we're presenting that opportunity through technology for those 6th and 7th and 8th grade students? They've got to feel a place where they belong and feel like they can succeed. One of the reasons I still do what I do with our Big Ben Pop Warner program is because I've seen it with kids when the light comes on, when they find that one place where they say, oh, this is where I'm successful. You wouldn't believe the number of folks and parents that have approached me over the years. Corey, thank you for still running this program, because my kid actually found his people. And, it's that old saying, you find your people, you find your purpose. Mm. And so we have to start to kind of branch out and diversify the education that our kids are receiving, because not every kid's going to be a magna cum laude or a summa cum laude. Some of them are going to just be a thank you laude. And we need to find a place for them to be able to move forward so they don't feel like they're stuck in a rut, and they don't feel like there's no place that they can be successful. So they might as well go to the streets. And there's the economic impact, right? Kids want money in their pocket. So we need to have a job force out there that they can go and succeed. At the end of the day, it's about dollars and cents. It's, we can have a mentoring program, and that's great. But at the end of the day, when that kid goes home and they see mom struggling, or grandmother struggling, or dad struggling, and there are nights that they don't have food on the table, you can miss them with a mentoring program. They need to eat. So those are the things that I'm focused on. And that's why I'm so focused on where we're going in terms of that career and technical education piece, because these are not, you don't have to wait to graduate from college and get a 4-year degree before you can start putting food on the table. These folks don't have time to wait for that. They're in a place of urgency right now. And that's what's driving our young men and some of our young women to the streets, because they've got to eat now. We can't continue to put it off, thinking that, if we can just pat them on the back and pacify them, saying, oh, good job, you're doing so well. That doing so well doesn't put food on the table. And so, sometimes it takes an 8-week phlebotomist program over at Lively Technical College where they can start to get into the workforce and make some real money. Those are the things that we need to start pushing out because people are hungry now.
Well, I really want to say certainly thank you so much for what you've already been doing. They are portraying that, you're not in the community, but you've been doing so much in our community. And there are different sectors of our community that needs people to be doing what you've been doing. So I want to say thank you so much. And certainly, beyond the shadow of a doubt that I am truly embracing your campaign. I'm embracing you as a candidate. I'm throwing all of my support behind you. And I want those of you who are listening to know it's not party for me. It's about people. And when you understand the power of understanding people, I had to tell somebody the other day, they said, well, you're a Democrat. I said, absolutely. I said, but before I even got my rights in 2018, I was working for people. I wasn't a Democrat. I wasn't a Republican. I wasn't an independent. I was just out doing the work. Mm-hmm. So the people, what matters to me.
Absolutely.
And as long as I've been working for people, They didn't care what party that I went to get help. They didn't care what judge I talked to. They didn't care what state attorney. They didn't care what sheriff. All they know is that they needed help.
Yes.
And I'm gratefully a firm believer that your heart is in the right place. We've had numbers of conversations. I'm excited about standing with you, beside you. I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about the fact that you understand you're your own man. You make your own decision. And as big as you is, I'm not going to try to do anything with boxing gloves. So Corey Simon, with the last 30 seconds left, man, what would you say to the 10,000 people that are listening to our broadcast?
Listen, November 8th, get out there and vote. Make your vote heard. Here's an opportunity for District 3 to have a seat at the table. And it's been a while. And if you have a seat at the table, as a good friend of mine that I met the other day talked about, if you have a seat at the table, then you can decide what's on the menu. And so I'm looking forward to putting District 3 on the menu and making sure our voices are heard throughout the Senate.
Wow. Corey Simon, candidate for Senate seat District 3. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. Coming up, I'd say it like this. You got to keep daily working. He's the mayor of the city of Tallahassee. Don't go nowhere. Oh, God.
See you, Chris. See you later.
Joining me now is none other than the man himself, Mr. John Daly, mayor of the city of Tallahassee. How are you, sir?
Pastor, doing great. Did you like my dancing in the window?
Listen,
You didn't tell everybody as you were doing the interviews. I was having fun with trying to make you laugh a little bit.
Listen. Let me tell you something. After I captured you dancing for homecoming, I think you have a dance anointing now that has come over you. As a matter of fact, Doc D told me you was at TNL trying to cut a step, and he already ordered Bengay for you because he felt like once you left.
Doc, what you doing to me back there? I tell you what, oh my goodness.
So
hey, look, as my wife will tell you, I might not be the best dancer, but I got confidence and I like to have fun, my man. How you doing, Pastor?
Man, listen, I'm excited. Listen, so let's talk. I mean, we got about 10,000 people tuned in.
Sure.
And we're days away. What would you say to the people who haven't decided about voting, for those who need to get out and vote? Why John Daly?
So for the past 4 years, it has been an interesting ride for this community. If you think about everything that we've been through, you have been able to count on one thing, and that is true, steady leadership coming out of the mayor's office and as me as your mayor. And I want to continue. I help craft the vision for this community. We passed a strategic plan. We've been laser focused on the issues, but we need to keep moving forward. And you have to have somebody that's going to continue to bring everybody to the table, that has the best interests of this community at heart, that can work with the other members of the city commission to truly make a positive change.
I mean, you know, we have seen some very difficult times in the last 4 years of your leadership.
Correct.
I mean, real difficult times.
Correct.
But what we were able to see is that you stayed focused. Mm-hmm. You didn't lose insight on what the mission was, and that was the keeping the city a great city.
Sure.
Pandemic hit. We were under so many investigations, police chief. I mean, just one thing after another.
Yes, sir.
What do you feel like the city of Tallahassee needs to know about John Daly when it comes to moving forward?
So again, we're at a crucial time where we need true leadership that can move the city forward as mayor of Tallahassee. Don't get me wrong. We've got major challenges that we have to tackle. And as mayor, I wake up every day solely focused on how to move this community forward and how to bring everybody to the table. But this is a great city. There is a reason why we have been named once again the top 10 city in the Southeast United States to live, work, and play. One of the top 10 municipalities in the Southeast as a university community as well. We have the #1 public utility in the nation. Our quality of life is second to none. We have the fastest growing economy per capita of any city in the state of Florida. We had over $850 million worth of private investment, creating over 5,000 jobs just in the past couple of years. I mean, we are making strides, and that's because we are laser focused. Right now, we have over 1,900 affordable housing units in the mix to be built. That is more than we've had in the past 25 years combined, Pastor, combined. Mm-hmm. Now, we got a lot of work to do, don't get me wrong, but it goes back to making sure you elect a mayor that has the right vision, that can continually work with all the members of the city commission to move this city forward. And I am prepared for another 4 years and to continue to take Tallahassee to its greatest.
Wow. I want to say this, and certainly, to hear what you just said on the horizon, to hear what you just said as to how you have led us through all of the turbulent times that we've seen as a city, and to still be listed in the top 10 of the greatest cities in the nation. Mm-hmm. Man, I tell you, I need everybody who got a hand that's listening to this broadcast to clap right now. You know why? Because that is amazing leadership. And I want to say something that I feel like I hear all the time. And I've been able to visit now Florida State games and FAMU games. And I want to commend you for the work and all of the rest of the commissioners on the decision to do what needs to be done. Because
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, that's one section of our community. And then there's other sections. Gun violence is at the forefront.
Correct.
You've been working with so many to work to ensure that how do we tackle this problem? Sure. You've been bringing people to the table.
Absolutely.
You've been reaching out. Why? Because you want to hear everybody's voice. You want to hear everybody's idea. You want to make sure that if I would say it like this and my listeners could understand, we're creating a gumbo that once we get it all together, the mixture is going to bring us the kind of results that we need. I want to commend you for it because it's not easy. Once you think we've settled something here, here's something else. And then I look at those who want to say defund police office, defund. What would we have done?
Right.
If law enforcement.
So this past weekend, if you think about it, it was a very busy weekend in Tallahassee.
Absolutely.
Because it was Halloween weekend. It was homecoming weekend. Florida State had a football game as well. We had every officer basically on duty this weekend. Every law enforcement officer on duty this weekend. We can't hire officers fast enough, but it's important that we hire a police department that is truly reflective of our community.
Absolutely.
And that we have the proper training in place. Let me tell you something. The incident that took place in the wee hours of Saturday, the officers that responded, and they should be commended. They were true heroes. One officer in particular ran out in the middle of the gun battle that was taking place and provided CPR to save. Literally, they saved lives. And that's what you want from your police department. Now, the question is, we cannot put the sole responsibility on the police department to solve the gun violence in our community. It takes all of us.
Absolutely.
Hey, quite frankly, we got to start holding the business owners accountable as well when these pop-up parties are taking place. There's a role for the government to play. There's a role for law enforcement to play. There's a role for the nonprofit, the religious community, the business community. We all have a role to play. Now, as mayor, I've been very proud to lead the charge and set aside the financial resources, $1 million a year for the next 5 years, to make sure that we have sustainable approaches.
Absolutely.
As we move forward. You look at the partnership between the FAMU Police Department, Florida State Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, and TPD when it comes to the Real-Time Crime Center, which allows us to identify where and when in real time. You're going to see a remarkable difference as we move forward. But sure, gun violence is not something that plagues only Tallahassee. Every community across the country is dealing with gun violence. But we need to be hyper-focused here in Tallahassee on how we can make a positive difference. And I am.
And, I want to commend you for that. And truly, it's happening everywhere. I had a call last night, probably about 11:30, a friend of mine called. He said, man, I just need you to pray with me. My 14-year-old nephew is in Atlanta. He got shot. He's on life support.
Right.
Gun violence.
Right.
So it's happening everywhere.
You turn on the TV and see what happened in Newark, New Jersey.
Yes.
It's horrible as a society that we're dealing with these issues, but you have to have the right leadership that is willing to step up and deal with these issues and make sure that it is done right to our community standards so that we can grow as a community, and that's Tallahassee.
Well, listen, I want to give you the last 30 seconds to wrap up to the listeners that are here. Why John Daly?
Pastor, I love this community. My wife and I have been married for 25 years. We went to school in this community. I grew up in this community. We have 2 boys at Robb Middle School, an 8th grader and a 6th grader. You know, I wake up every day not only to make Tallahassee the best it is for you and me, but for my boys and for all the children in Tallahassee. You have to have a leader that's going to be responsible, but is also going to provide steady leadership no matter what may come, whether it's a hurricane, a global pandemic, a crisis, or if it's just the day-to-day business. You have to have a leader that can craft that vision, that can bring everybody to the table, buy into the vision to move this community forward. I've been able to do that for the past 4 years, and I'm going to continue to do it for the next 4 years as well. We need everybody to get out to vote. You must exercise your right to vote. I'll be honest with you right now. You look at the early voting numbers, they're down. They're down. We need to get everyone out to vote.
Wow. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for coming by. And to all of you who are listening to the broadcast, I want you to know that I just got the right to vote back in 2018, ran for office in this year. And I want you to know that I'm voting to keep daily working for the city of Tallahassee. You know why? Because he got the heart of the people and he's got the people in his heart. I want to challenge you to join me voting John Daly. And guess what? I approve this message. Hey, listen, thank you so much. Keep it locked right here. Coming up next, you know who it is. It's the man, the maestro, Doc D on, I wouldn't say the ones and the twos, but I'm just going to say he's going to provide you with the best of gospel music until 6 o'clock. Until then, keep it locked right here. Hallelujah 95.3. I'm Greg James for the Greg James Community Show. Get ready for the man, Doc.